Cavan, from Longford, from Leitrim, from Cavan, from Monaghan, and we even have a true legend. In my view, he is a true legend, joining us from our Monaghan studios, and we'll introduce you to him in a moment. But first off, here in Longford, the great Vincent Pearse. Good morning to you.
Morning, Joe.
And thank you so much for coming in. It's great to have you. One of our great storytellers, a great raconteur. Originally from Ballyduff in the county of Kerry. I always knew you were a Kerry man, but I had to check last night where. So it's Ballyduff.
Ballyduff, yes.
Right. I'm sure, like so many villages and towns in Kerry, it has produced great footballers of note.
Great hurlers, Joe.
Hurling is your thing, and camogie, of course.
Yeah.
Why would that be a hurling stronghold in Kerry?
It would be a strong
Yeah.
hurling stronghold, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is unique to Kerry.
Yes, there was a family of Hennessy's there. They were noted hurlers back in the 60s. Yeah.
And then from Kerry to London. London back to Roscommon. Love brought you to Knockrockery. You've never looked back.
No.
Yeah. The storytelling, though, because I know in interviews you've done in the past, you will be the first to admit that one of the great Shanachys of our time, Eamon Kelly, was a huge inspiration.
Oh, yes.
He was one of the greats.
He left a legacy behind him, yes.
Yeah. And you have a story to share with us this
I
morning.
have, Joe. Yeah.
Give us the background to this before you tell it.
Pardon?
Give us a bit of background to this.
Well, I heard it a long time ago, and I liked it, and I picked it up, and
Here it is.
here it is. Yeah.
In your own time,
Yeah.
Vincent.
I knew a woman that married a blacksmith, and what's more, she came all the ways back from America to marry him. He was a good match for her, as well as having the forge. He had a nice farm of land with an empty house on it. And they weren't altogether complete strangers. You see, he had a sort of a memory of her before she went to America. No fierce out and out love between them at all, just that he had an empty house and she got tired of America. Well, they got married and made match, and they made history, for they were the first couple from that locality to go away on a honeymoon. And when they got off the train below at Glenmire Station in Cork, she said to him, "Oh, they're all looking at us. They know very well that we're fresh from the altar. Do you think, she, is there anything I could do to make it appear that we're a couple of years married?" "There is, of course," he said. "Will you pick up that bag there and walk on in front of me?" When they got back from the honeymoon, she got in the carpenters and the masons to renovate the house, bringing into effect ideas she saw foreign. Concrete paths all around the house outside and down to the wicker gate, a monkey tree here and a monkey tree there. My word, she was used to the good life in America, where she was a lady's companion, wintering it in New York and summering it in Spring Falls. She was full of airs and graces, which she tried to transfer to the blacksmith. She was all the time correcting his speech, which might sound all right to you or me, because it was the speech of the locality. He was full of fairs and fies and fots and fitches. My word, the man's grammar was putrid, saying things like he have and she have. Well, she gave him such a lecturing about he have and she have, that in the finish, the poor blacksmith thought that have was a word that shouldn't be used in front of children at all. I'll never forget one Sunday morning, the men waiting to go into mass. It was near the fall of the year, and they said to the blacksmith, "Have they the hay cut up here quarter?" "Oh," the blacksmith said, "they has. Indeed they has. Sure, if they hasn't it cut now, they never has." There was a station published for the blacksmith. That's when the priest comes and says mass in the house. A custom that goes back to the penal times when there was no churches. Well, the station was published for the blacksmith and his wife. Oh, she was delighted, because it was going to be an opportunity for her to show off to the neighbours and to the parish priest the inside of the house, as well as all these little cute fibbles she brought home in the trunk from America with her. It was going to be a wonderful occasion, and she didn't want to have it spoiled by the awkwardness of her husband, so training was the answer. Well, for weeks before the station, the poor blacksmith, he'd hate to see the sun going down in the evening, because you see, for him, it was home to night school. When he got inside the door, he had to get out of his old duds, wash and scrub himself, and into his conversation clothes. Yes, father, no, father. You see, he being the man of the house, he'd have to have his breakfast in the parlour with the parish priest. So the wife brought him down, told him where to sit, and gave him a tight warning to have his manners. Passed the butter and passed the milk, everything up to the knocker, she told him. And no coarse conversation in the presence of the priest. Don't be saying things like, excuse me, dear father, the butter is hairy, the cat and the dog they slept in the dairy. None of that, she said. Use your serviette. Don't have drops of tea falling from your moustache. And take your spoon out of your cup when you're drinking your tea. And don't have it going into your eye when you're talking to the parish priest. He being the man of the house, he'd also have to go down to the wicket gate to welcome the parish priest when he'd get out of the car. There again the wife brought him down and told him where to stand. And she told him as soon as the priest stepped out of the car, he was supposed to extend his arm, showing no agitation. Then she told him to say, "Good morning, dear father." She told him to give a little laugh, and say, "Ha ha, fall already? We won't feel it now till Christmas." Now, the poor blacksmith, he didn't want to say fall already, because he hadn't had it said before. But she made him, saying that this was the term used to describe the autumnal part of the year in America, and that was the common thing. The blacksmith, he was doubtful about it. He'd wake up in the morning, he'd look up at the ceiling, he'd say, "Fall already?" Even going round the house, he'd be rehearsing. Even when the forge was full of customers, he'd stop hammering on the anvil and he'd look up and he'd say, "Fall already?" The customers on the forge thought the poor blacksmith was going off the rocker. Every evening when the blacksmith would come in from the forge, the wife would introduce him to some new article of cutlery. A tongs for the lump sugar, a butter cooler with a roof on it. He came in this evening, the door was open, it was getting dark and herself was below in the room, and he saw this object up on the table. "Well, will you cush, blast you clear out?" And he made smithereens of the teapot on the floor. You see, the tea cosy was an embroidered cock. Very lifelike. Another putty she brought home in the trunk from America with her. Well, the night before the station, the blacksmith, he washed down the concrete patch all around the house outside and the steam pat down to the gate, bucket after bucket of water until he had them shining. And then he stood below the gate, and for one final rehearsal he extended his arm, showing no agitation, and he said, "Good morning, dear father." "Fall already? We won't feel it now till Christmas." Then he went back up to the house, and himself and the wife went to bed. And whatever happened that night, the poor blacksmith was only barely down in the kitchen the next morning, and he looked out the window, and there was the parish priest getting out of the car below the wicket gate. The blacksmith, he hopped into his 2 boots as quick as ever he could, and he went flying out the door. Blessed out tonight. That was a fierce fall of frost the night before, and as soon as the blacksmith made contact with the footpath, the 2 legs were taken from under him, and he went sliding down his backside all the way to the wicket gate. And still in a sitting position, he extended his arm and he said, "Oh, good father, dear morning." He said, "What today, you okay? I've a pain in my arse from the fall, and I'll feel it now till Christmas."
Woo! Well done, Vincent Pearse. Lovely. All about the blacksmith there. That's Vincent from Knockbrockery in County Roscommon. Our storytelling, so important. People like Vincent Pearse, in my view, are national treasures, as is my next guest. Let's go